What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to build a competitor research tool that stores all of the data in a Google Sheet and Google document. Okay guys, so this is the workflow here. This is a build based off of a Perplexity workflow that I had listed in my school here, and so we're just building on top of it and using it to do some competitor research. So a good couple of use cases for this would be is if you owned a small business and you wanted to do research on a bunch of different, let's say, construction companies, or if you're an e-commerce brand, you could research all of your competitors, or even just do basic research and enter that data into a better format, which would be a Google Sheet and then a Google document. So let's just do a live demo first. So I have a scheduled trigger, which then goes into a Google Sheet. So we provide the names here that we want to research, and then the agent will then research them, put them in a sheet for us, and then output them into a Google document. Okay, so let's execute this workflow. In my competitors here, these rows and columns, which will be company and research. Okay, and so for this example, I have Coinbase, Bybit, and Kraken. These are 3 crypto companies. So if you're a crypto company and you're looking to stay up to date on the most latest news, then this would also be a great use case for you. Okay, so let's run this now. We'll execute this. It's getting the rows in for us, and now it is using Perplexity to do the research for us. Okay, and in the Perplexity tool, I'm using the deep research LLM, and so it might take a little bit of time, but we will get to it once it is done. Okay guys, so there we go. The Perplexity tool did its job, and now the AI agent is going to update our Google Sheet here. And we are doing a little 15-second wait just so we aggregate all of the data before moving on, and then we will actually extract the data from the Google Sheet and then enter it into the document here. Okay, so let's see what it did. Okay, the agent output the correct data, and here is the data in the Google Sheet. So you have Coinbase, Bybit, and Kraken. So we've got all the data right here. And then if we come over here to our Google Drive, just do a little refresh, we have a full competitor research report. So there's Coinbase and all of its information. And then here's Bybit, and here is Kraken as well. Okay, so that is what the agent does. It outputs it into a Google Sheet and into a Google document for us. Okay guys, and so that is the live demo. That is how the agent works. And if you want to learn how to build this, then we're going to do a live build right now. Okay, so let's do it. We're going to open up a new workflow. First step, we're going to do a schedule trigger, and this we can set to whatever we want. And let's say we're just a business that wants the information right before we clock into work and give everybody a report. We're just going to say, just do the research at 7 a.m. in the morning, right before we get started, and do a brief or something like that. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually get into our Google Sheets and then get rows in sheet. Okay. And so what we're going to do now is put in, just like here, we put in 3 different companies, right? So just for ease of use, we will switch these companies up, and let's see. Let's just do different crypto companies as well. Top cryptocurrency companies. So we got the block. So let's do this one. Let's do Circle. And let's do Azure Games. Sure. If we could actually get the website. There we go. Okay, Circle, and then Azure Games. We'll get all of these websites, and let's see here. Let's actually just pull the name out and paste that in. Azure Games. Pull that in. And what else can we pull in? The Circle. Now let's actually pull in a URL and see what it does there, because I've only been putting names in it. So let's actually try and see what it does with the URL. And we'll actually put this to the block. because that is a different crypto news site. So we'll go the block, and that's actually, yeah, we'll pick this one. It's probably got a lot more information, so we'll do that. Okay, and so now we've got this. We've got to we're going to pull from the same Google Sheet. But if you want to set that up, you have to come over here and set up a Google Sheets account. I will link that video right here. You have to set up Google OAuth and do all of those credential setup. And so now what we're going to do is select competitors and sheet. We're going to select sheet 1, and that is the sheet right here. Okay. And so from here, all you need to do is keep this the exact same. And then we're going to add in our AI agent. And what we're going to do here is give it a system prompt. So go add options, system prompt, and I'm going to paste in the prompt that I have built out for us so that it understands to use the Perplexity tool instead of the other LLM, which will be our brain. And so here it is, your competitor research agent. You must only use the Perplexity tool to find the most recent information about companies. Always start by searching Perplexity for the company name or website. Let's try that because we just added a website to it. If you cannot find recent information through Perplexity, say no recent information found rather than using outdated knowledge. An issue I had with this before was when I didn't have this prompt, it would use a chat model, which is just our brain for the system. So it would actually just use the model here instead of using the Perplexity tool. And we do not want that. We want it to use the Perplexity tool because it is much better at doing live scraping and research. That is why I'm using OpenAI. So we'll do OpenRouter here. I use OpenRouter instead. OpenRouter, and then I've already got it set up. And from here, I'm just going to go 4.0 mini. We don't need 4 or anything crazy like that. And then we're just going to leave the memory out, and we're going to set up the Perplexity as well. So in here, you're going to need to create a Perplexity account. So you'll come over to Perplexity/account/API, and then you will go to your you'll need to sign up, go to billing, add in a few credits, okay? And then we will create ourselves an API key. Now don't worry, I'm going to delete this, but this is what you have to do. You come here, create a key, copy this key over, create a new credential, and then enter your API key here. All right. And then for this, we're going to use this model just because the deep research is a bit expensive, and we're going to see what it gives us. I've been using the deep research, but we're going to see if we can use this and see if you guys will be able to use the cheaper model as well. Okay. And so let's just get back over to the system prompt. One thing I did want to mention also is you want to add the date. So you just go curly bracket, money sign now, and then the agent knows the date. Another good thing to do is come over to settings and change this to your time zone if it's not set in the default settings. So now that we have our agent, we've got our Perplexity model. Let's actually just save this and let's execute it and see if we run into any issues. Okay, so here is an issue, and what we need to pull in now is we'll go define below, and we will actually pull in the company from our sheet. Okay, so we'll pull that in, we'll execute the step, and then we'll be able to have the company data output for us right here. Okay guys, and so what we're going to do here is come over, and where you see the text function, you'll just let the AI define this, and let's just try and run it here and see what our workflow does. Let's see, so it's using Perplexity. It's pulled in the names here of the companies and this website, and it is going to do some deep research for us now using the R1-1776 model. And this should only take a few minutes here. As you can see here, the AI agent has been running for 25 seconds and it's used 212 tokens. If we come down here, open router, so it's just going over the system prompt for what the AI agent has. And okay, and then it's actually pulling in the company, so the block. Let's go down to this. Okay, message and model, the block's latest news. Okay, so it's pulling that in. Open router, it's doing the same thing. And let's see what it's doing here. Okay, let's see. This one might not be pulling in properly, but we're going to go through and fix that. This one's doing the same thing, so it's going through Azure Games, and then it should pull in Azure Games with Perplexity. And now, okay, there's the circle.com, and then this last and final one should be the circle.com latest news. And so let's actually see what it gave us here. Okay, and so open this up, and it seems like some of them made it through and some of them didn't. So now what we're going to do is actually append ourselves with a Google Sheet here. We'll go append or update the row in the sheet. Okay, and then now what we will do is we will connect to our competitor sheet, which is this one right here. And we'll go sheet 1, and then now we will map each column manually. So let's see here, we'll go get rows and sheet, we'll pull over the company. And then the research actually didn't go through, so we will need to go for the better model. So none of that went through. We're gonna come back here and we'll go back to Perplexity, and then we're going to use the Sonar Deep Research, okay? And then we're going to select that. And so we need to actually get the research variable first before we can enter that into our Google Sheet. And so let's see if it outputs it for us again. So Perplexity is done. That took quite a bit of time. It took 6 minutes. So it does take quite a bit of time, but the other way was not working with the other models. Maybe some of the other models over here would work, but R11776 wasn't working, so we went with the deep research and it did the job. And you can actually come over and see the output from the agent here. And so now what we'll do is we will append it to this Google Sheet, okay? So we want to match on a column, so we'll match on company, and then the research part, which is this right here, we will drag in the output from the AI agent, and let's see if it works. We'll execute the step and see if it outputs. Okay, so today is July 3rd. Today is July 3rd. Okay, so here are the latest news updates from the block as of July 3rd, 2025. Did the same for Azure Games, July 2025. So it even pulled a few funding rounds. For more details, you can access these here. They raised $68 million to revitalize Classic Sword, so a game right there. And then the Circle. Here are the latest updates, July 3rd. Circle's IPO and stock performance. And it actually provided us with some links as well, so we can check those out. Let's see. And this will bring us to its official blog. The official blog of Circle and USDC. Okay, so let's test out another one. Let's test out one of these from Azure Games. Let's just pull this over here. And HTTPS, GamesBeat. Let's check what this is. Let's see. Azure Games raises another $10 million for A16Z for Web3 games. Okay, so this is pretty cool. And when was this written? February 21st, 2023. So this one isn't really that up to date. But let's see if another one is. And so a lot of times, depending on the company, right, they might not have crazy up-to-date information. And so let's see here. June 20th, 2025. So that's pretty recent. So take everything with a grain of salt and also do your research. If you're just looking for a daily breakdown, then that seems to be all right. So next thing we're going to do, now that we have updated our Google Sheet, is we're going to add a weight node. And the reason for that is because after that, we're going to add another Google Sheet, which we're then going to pull from into our Google Docs. Okay, so we're going to go get rows in Sheet, and we're going to set the wait time to, we'll just go 15 seconds. And in the Google Sheet node, we will select the competitors sheet as well as the sheet 1 here. And that is all we're going to do for this. All we're doing with this node is actually pulling all of the data from here. And the reason I selected this weight node is because I tried it out before without it, and sometimes it would only pull one of the companies and the information for that company. So that's why I added that weight node. You can test that out yourself and see if you don't use this, if it works for you. I'm just doing it just for good measure. So I'll add that 15-second wait node in. And then next, we're going to add a code node. And the reason we're adding this code node is to also pull that data and not create a bunch of different sheets. So if we don't add this code node, when we create a document, instead of creating one document full of the 3 companies and the information, it'll actually create 3 separate documents. And I wanted to create one PDF, one document, so we can just get one every day. And that's the whole point of this. And so in this code node, what you're going to input is this right here. And you can copy this over, pause the video, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. I'm laying it out here for you. And there it is. Screenshot it. Another way you can get this is you can also come to our Skool community, where I will be putting this video as well as like a text guide and all of the code within this video. So if not, copy that over, screenshot it, do whatever you got to do. Use that code node. And now what we're going to do is we're going to create ourselves a document. So we've got our Google Sheet. Now we want to add a Google Docs, and we'll go create document. Okay. And now what we're going to do is select the crypto competitor analysis folder. So what you're going to want to do when you come over to Google Drive, right, you're going to make yourself a new folder. Okay. So you'll go new folder, create that, pull this. You don't have to pull this here because it'll already connect through your Google credentials. So first you need to connect your Google credentials, and I will leave that again in the link below. Okay, so connect your Google account and then select your folder, and then you should be good to go here. Let's actually just pin some of this data, and we will run some of the other steps and build as we go. So this way, if we pin this here, we don't actually have to run with Perplexity again, because that took too much time. And so we don't want to have to do that again. So we're going to pin this and execute the rest of the workflow. Okay. Problem running workflow. Title. Let's pull this in. See if that works. So competitor analysis. That will be our title for this. Let's just run these separately and we can deal with that after. Just 1 second. Okay, Siri's talking to me. So we pulled the wait node. Okay, waited 15 seconds. Let's execute this and see what happens here. So, okay, we pulled a whole bunch of data. Excuse me. Pulled a whole bunch of data here. And let's actually run this through the code so it produces one document. Okay, it seems like it's all in one document. Got the circle.com here. I see that. What else do we see? Competitor research report. There's the block. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now, what we're going to do here is, for the title, all that will be is the actual name of the document. So I just do competitor analysis, and then I go curly bracket, money sign now, and that will add the date. So every day something will pop up in your document folder, and you can check the date and time, and you can mess around with the JSON here a little bit just to change the way the date format looks. Or we're going to put this in for the title, and we will execute this. So our operation is create. We're adding that to our drive. And we've created a file, right? We've created a document here. Now the only problem is nothing's on the document. So it created a document, but it didn't add any of the information. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another Google Doc here. If I could scroll in properly, we'll go Google Doc again. And then for this one, we're going to go updated document. Okay. And then in here, what are we going to do? We'll go, okay, so we want the ID of the document, which is this right here. Okay. And so you can, because we already created it here, the ID is already pulled in. So we pull in the ID here. Well, let's actually just check if that is the same ID. So 1LJ, there we go, 1LJ underscore 74P, and that's the ID right there. So all you have to do is pull in that ID. And then for the text, we are going to pull in the content from the code node. And the reason you're going to do this is because, well, you could probably pull it from the agent maybe, but we're going to pull it in from the code just because it lays it out all in one format for us. And the other way would have created a whole bunch of different documents with separate information. So it would have had one company for one page. Now we have one page and all of the information from all the companies. And from here, we'll go execute. And let's see what it does. Okay, so competitor research report, we got the block. We've got Azure Games. And so I can't remember which one was the website. Circle.com. Okay. So the circle.com. And so in hindsight, we probably could have just added the websites, because say there's a different company, right, called The Block in a different niche or different industry. Maybe it would pull that data. If you just put the website, then it'll probably be more accurate, but that's something you could play around with after. So you could either put the website or the title. Okay, and so there you go, guys. We have the circle.com here with all of the information. And so this every day would run at, what was the time? 6 a.m. It'll run daily. Whatever time you set it at, runs at 7 a.m. Then we have a brand new report. And so if you just want to add different competitors or just keep the same websites that you want to scrape every day or find new information on, then you can do that also. And by the way, guys, I will be leaving this template in my school here. So if you want to go and download that as well as all of my other templates, all you have to do is download it, come over and go to import from file, and you'll just select that workflow that you download and you will have this right away. Okay, so that's in my school. And if not, just follow this video along and build it out. And that is how you do competitor research and provide a Google Doc and a Google Sheet. And like, comment, subscribe on the video, guys, and leave any video ideas in the comments as well. And I will see you guys in the next video.